So based off my first couple videos, a few people have asked what is PAL. So I'll show you. I got my little test system set up here, and let's say you just get Joust and you want to play. So you put it in, you turn it on, and you get this screen scrolling vertically, and you can't play. And that's PAL. And basically what it is, it's the European standard for these TVs, and I'm not a super techy guy, so don't flame me in the description, but basically it's different colors, different frame rate that the signal goes out from, from the cart to the system. So now you have this mismatch, which causes this vertical scrolling error. And I imagine the same thing would happen if you sent a NTSC game to Europe and they tried to play it there, but not sure. You can fix this on kind of newer TVs, but back in the day, this is what happens. So this is PAL. So I actually do have a PAL system. So if you flip it over, it says it right there, PAL. So this is, and this is my converter for European to PAL. That's why this guy's up here, just because that fat converter in brick takes up a lot of space. But that's what PAL is. So this is my collection of Atari 2600 PAL games that I'm able to play on that console, but most of them I figured out just by plugging into my test and sort of getting that scrolling issue. A lot of the Atari games actually do have a P on it, so if you see the P on the sticker, it's almost always going to be PAL. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I've certainly come across a few games that had P on it but were NTSC and played fine, but usually the P's are PALs. But you'll see a few like Pele Soccer, Atari games, Kangaroo, Moon Patrol, that don't have the P on it. And for the text games, the number CX 2622-P -P indicates PAL, but a few others, for example, Combat. This is PAL Combat, but doesn't have the P on it. This is Outlaw PAL, doesn't have the P on it. Someone at least stamped this one with a little PAL stamp at some point in his history. Most of these PAL games look like the North American releases, though you may or may not be able to tell by a P somewhere on it. But some of the other games are just interesting. Like I've got a row here where the sort of North American one is on the right and the PAL version is on the left. And it's just interesting, the label variants. Activision has sort of this kind of crappy, almost clamshell folding label cartridge for the PAL. Title Match Pro Wrestling, it's got the little wrestling guys on the NTC, but this one is no pictures. It's actually interesting. Activision released here as PAL, but it's Absolute Entertainment for the US. Part of this may also be the country it was released in. Like, I don't remember off the top of my head, which countries I got some of these from. Epic's Winter Games, again NTSC. This one I think came from Australia. I got from some guy in Australia. Same game, just different label. The iMagics are interesting because you can't actually tell the difference. These are both Demon Attack. This is the international NTSC version of Demon Attack, and the international PAL version of Demon Attack. can't tell the difference otherwise unless you plug it in. And then Gorf, CBS, this is the standard NTSC label, and then the PAL CBS Electronics label is this. But it's interesting because the PAL version of the Coleco games, so I got Venture, Zaxxon, I still have Carnival, Mousetrap. They're all under the CBS Electronics label, made in England, at least I guess for the European PAL version, versus kind of this is the standard NTSC. And then these games, CCE, I think this may be the Brazil or South American company. I'll have to check on that. See, it says right there. You can't really see it. Brazil, yeah. So again, it's interesting. This is also PAL, but it's the iMagic Atlantis game, and versus that's the NTSC. This is the, I guess, European iMagic PAL release. The same game, but different cart, different label, different I guess local company selling it. A few of these other Brazilian ones, Jawbreaker, versus the Tiger Vision. So these are actually all PAL. So this is standard Tiger Vision. Where we have this is my NTSC Jawbreaker. This is the PAL Jawbreaker in the same style and case as Tiger Vision. I guess this is European PAL, and then this is the Brazilian PAL. And same thing, Othello, the European PAL, is kind of the same standard picture label. This guy actually is a much cooler samurai dude on the Japanese label, but all the same game, just PAL. A few other interesting PAL variants. These are both PAL Battle Zones I sort of picked up. It's interesting though that the red label one is actually wasn't, I believe, ever released NTSC North America. So if you have a red label Battle Zone, this is the same essentially label as North America for Battle Zone. But I guess late 80s they released several games with the red label in Europe that they didn't have in the US. Mario Brothers is another one I know off the top of my head that was red label, but I think there are a few others. And I think Clax is the only game that was actually only PAL with the red label series that doesn't have an NTSC variant. A few other interesting ones I've got here: Chopper Command and Pac Kong. I think this is probably Asia somewhere, Hong Kong or China, but same games. Although Chopper Command is a helicopter, of course, and I don't see any choppers on the picture. Pac Kong, I'll have to load it up. I think it's Pac-Man. And this looks nothing like Pac-Man. So these two guys come from, not sure totally, somewhere Asia or Australia. Pac Kong is, I don't know, from the name you'd think it's Pac-Man or Donkey Kong. The artwork, I don't know what you'd think. It's actually kind of something of a rip-off of Donkey Kong. It looks and plays kind of like Donkey Kong, but not quite. Chopper Command, again, the artwork is interesting because I don't see a chopper anywhere on here. I see some jet planes and a spy plane, no chopper, but those are those. This is the Hungrigen Frosch. I assume translates to the hungry frog. It's actually just frogs and flies I guess German frogs and flies. This one came from Australia. It's Activision. It's a 5-in-1 game, Super Hit Pack. This one is actually kind of interesting. This is actually the NTSC version of Pete Rose Baseball. This is the PAL European version. I just thought it was interesting that in Europe they use a picture of Pete Rose, who unfortunately just passed away a couple weeks ago. But does anyone in Europe, or even back then, know who that Pete Rose is? So you got a picture of Pete Rose on, the European cart, and nothing on the North American cart. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. Bermuda. This game is actually pretty much straight up rip-off of River Raid, but it takes, there's no land. So it's all just over water, I guess, like the Bermuda Triangle, but it plays almost exactly like River Raid. Another one, Aquatac, is I think it's actually the same as the Froggo. Which one is it? Sea Hunt. The Froggo Sea Hunt game. Same game, just different different name and label. I think this was actually Australian release. 32-in-1 game cartridge. This one's interesting because it's Atari. 32 games on it, though not all of them are Atari games. Some of them are like Activision and other games. Also, you can't select the game. You can't plug it in and kind of pick which game you want. It's the cartridge itself cycles through all 32 games, which kind of sucks. But you turn it on, and it's golf, and then you turn it off and turn it back on, and it's the checkers rip off, and you turn it back off and on, and it's so on, something else. And then if you want to go back to golf, you got to turn it on and off, up to 32 times to get back to where you started. Anyway, I think again this was 1988, so pretty late in Atari. Just trying to make a few bucks before they went out of business. Cosmic Town, I have. This one is a little interesting. It's kind of like a mashup between Cosmic Arc, but it also kind of looks like Atlantis. So I don't know if these ITT guys have anything to do with iMagic. It looks like a blend between the two, but that's Cosmic Arc. And then this one is actually pretty cool. It's Alice's Adventure, which I guess is adventure. It's kind of like Alice in Wonderland. And this was actually an original game programmed in Germany based off of Alice Through the Looking Glass, or Alice in Wonderland. So interesting game, and this one's actually unique. PAL, it was never released in the US. But that's it for my PAL collection. A few others, I mean, the Zonox, I got it, Sir Robin Hood, Sir Lancelot. It's pretty much the same game, just a double under asterisk. This one I don't have an NTSC asterisk yet, because they're a lot harder to find and more expensive than the PAL asterisk. So if I want to play asterisk, I gotta fire up my little PAL Atari. But that was it for my PAL games, and hope you enjoyed it.